Good evening, everyone that's here in the audience. We have a full house tonight. And those that are watching us live stream, I'm going to call our special meeting of our special legislative delegation meeting. We'll call it to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Before we get down into the weeds, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? Got a motion, got a second. All in favor? Seeing no one opposed, motion carries. Introduction of board members. Nope, skip one. That's my opening remark. We're here tonight and hosting this special meeting for our presentation through our state legislative delegates in Cumberland County. And the chair will introduce the members when she's called to, which is District 42 Representative Diane Wheatley. But we're here also with a lot of the staff that's here too to talk about the funding that we're looking at asking our state legislative delegation to help us with to improve the quality of life and enhance our community in this next coming year. That's pretty much what our focus is tonight while we're here. I want to thank tremendous amount of staff work has gone into everything that we're doing tonight. And I'm glad to see a lot of the staff that's here. And our town manager, Chancellor McLaughlin, will introduce those and our guests. And hopefully we'll get through this really nice tonight. If you haven't had anything, if you need something to eat or something to drink, we've got plenty. I want to thank the food preparers for coming. It was a really good meal. Chancellor, here you go.
Thank you, Mayor. I first want to thank our Mayor Pro Tem, and our board for their continued support. One thing you'll hear from us is that this is a team effort. There's nothing that you'll see tonight that was not done through a collective effort. And so I definitely thank our elected officials for their support of me as a manager and our staff. I'd also like to welcome Ashley Anderson from Sands Anderson Law. She's actually representative of the law firm that we're hiring to do our strategic plan that we're working on. I want to welcome Mr. Hembry from Mid Carolina Regional Council. And I want to acknowledge our staff because I couldn't do anything that I'm doing without my team. And so my right hand or left hand man tonight during this budget season, Drew Holland, our finance director. We have LaMarca Morrison, our Parks and Rec director. Ashley Wyatt, who is the queen of the office. She's our town clerk. We have our PIO and our deputy town clerk, Karonda Reagan. We have Don Cisco, who's our public works director. His deputy, Bruce Clark. We have Emily Wagner, who is our planning director. Beth Brown, who is our stormwater director. Police Chief Steve Dollinger. We have Matthew Kane, which is our fire chief, and Robert Hogan, so our deputy fire chief, and Mrs. Leanne Lucci, our HR director. So I definitely want to welcome our staff here this evening, but I want to welcome our representatives as well. This means a lot to us that you're here to hear our request this evening. If you recall, we'll get into it in the presentation. We did this last year as well, and we're here again this year. We understood last year we were in the short session, we're in the long session now, and we told you we were coming back, and we're here. And so, just some housekeeping items. Each one of you received a binder. Each one is personalized to you specifically. The first tab is a message from our mayor. The second tab is a resolution that we'll ceremoniously adopt this evening. The third tab is the presentation that you'll see this evening. The final tab is a fact sheet that breaks down all of the specific legislative requests in terms of the numbers, what were ranked by the priority. And so, did you want to say something else, Mayor? Oh, also, there's a gift, for each one of you. I'm wearing it right now. If you know anything about me, I'm the lapel pin guy. I got like 400 of these. But this is something that we wanted to give to you guys as a token of our appreciation this evening.
Before we introduce our delegation, I want to also introduce our Board of Commissioners. We wouldn't be successful without all the members on the board. I'll start on my end, Commissioner Jerry Legg. Sitting next to me, the lovely Commissioner Prager. And I have another one on the other side of me, Commissioner Salola, Commissioner Marley, and on the end is someone who's very close and dear to me. We work together at FTCC, and that's Mayor Pro Tem, Dr. Kimwana McCray. So that's the board. So now, I'm gonna bring the mic over. You guys got one, okay. To the delegation, and I'm not sure if the chair has opening comments. We would welcome the comments if you have some.
Don't have too many comments, so we can get through this with time to answer questions. But we're glad to be here this evening to share about this part of our wonderful county and hear your needs, and hopefully if Western North Carolina is able to get the funding they need, there might be some leftover that we can bring home this year. I would like to ask, a little different, I'd like to pass the mic down to Senator Applewhite and let her start, and we'll go down real quick with an introduction. And I'm the 43rd district.
43rd.
Yeah, but nobody ever looks at that.
Hello, Hope Mills. It's great to be out here. Mr. Mayor, commissioners, staff, and everybody that helps this amazing town operate. Senator Applewhite, Senate District 19. The last time I was here, I represented a whole lot more of Hope Mills. Now, I just don't want a quarter of it, but I'm glad to be here just the same. My district does cover a little bit of a good portion of Hope Mills, but mostly the city of Fayetteville, and I'm so glad to be here. Pleasure.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Mike Coven. I represent North Carolina House District 42. I'd like to commend you, Mr. Mayor, all of the commission, council members, all of the administrators, everyone here, because it truly takes all of us to make this a thriving community, such as Hope Mills as it appears to be. So thank you all for having us. Thank you for the hospitality, and I look forward to the meeting.
And just on behalf of Senator McGinnis, he called me on my way in, and he gives his regrets. He is in Raleigh this evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Frances Jackson, your representative who actually lives in the town. I'm excited about being here and hearing the plans that you all have for the town, and I look forward to working with you on them. And like she said, hopefully we'll be able to bring some money home to make sure all our plans come to fruition. Again, thank you for the meal, and thank you all for having us this evening. Oh yeah, I represent Hope Mills in some parts of the city of Fayetteville, but Hope Mills is my main thing.
Good evening, everybody. Charles Smith, I represent House District 44, which is fully encompassed within the Fayetteville city limits. But I think as a delegation, and we understand the importance of working together, collaborating for the benefit of Cumberland County. I know my district is benefited when Hope Mills thrives, and so certainly excited to be here. Looking forward to this presentation. Mayor, thanks for having us. Thanks for the hospitality. Staff, thank you for putting this together. I can tell a lot of time and thought went into it. Especially, I appreciate the cheat sheet at the back. That's always easy. It's easy to have numbers handy when things are flying around and moving quickly in Raleigh. So thank you for this. And if I can do anything for anybody, when I'm up in Raleigh, please feel free to reach out to my office or me personally, and I'm happy to do what I can.
Okay. Again, we welcome you to our special meeting. Representative Diane Wheeler, like you said, our hearts go out to those that are still living in tents, lost their homes, and in the western counties of our state. And even though it's in February, and the event happened in September, the needs of those many, many people in the western county, that is the priority. It truly is. And I just wanted to say that, and to acknowledge that right after that incident happened, we sent a number of crews from our fire department and police department to help those in the western counties. We did that as a community. That's who we are. It's what we do. We take care of each other. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that as we go through the short presentation tonight of only a few priorities that we would respectfully request. With that, the MC is going to be our town manager, Jason McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor, and I would like to officially welcome you to the 2025 Delegation Budget Priorities Meeting. And speaking of priorities, what is a priority? It's a fact or condition of being regarded or treated as more important. What you're going to see here is a continued effort. We started this new approach last year where we brought in all of the department heads early on in the process last month and allowed them to present all of their priorities from each department. And what you see today are the three priorities that our board deemed were the ones that we wanted to at least present to you guys. This approach has yielded one of the most successful years of progression in the town of Hope Mills. And so what you'll see is what we prioritize. But what we also want you to know and what we want you to see is that there's a phrase we use, skin in the game. There's money that we're requesting from you guys, but we want to show you that we actually contributed ourselves. And so what you see now are the three projects that were actually previously funded and how much of those funds came from local, how much of those funds came from federal, and what our contributions were. Heritage Park Phase 1 is our current crown jewel that is complete. It was a total project cost of $1.3 million, and you'll see the breakdown. $240,000 from Congressman David Rouser's office, $300,000 from a PARTES grant, $200,000 from NCDEQ, and $560,000 from the town of Hope Mills. Reed's Journey is an all-inclusive playground. I challenge anybody in this area to find a playground that is actually, I'm on page 2 of the presentation. And I want to challenge anybody in this area to find a playground that is specifically designed for special needs. That's what Reed's Journey is. That received $320,000 from the state legislature, $145,000 from the town of Hope Mills, for a total project cost of $465,000. Our splash pad, total cost of $510,000, $320 from the state, $190 from the town. Total contributions were $2,275,000, but a lot of that money came from us, but most importantly, a lot of that money came from you. Next, we're going to basically tell you that this evening, our top priority out of the three you'll be presented with tonight are tied to Parks and Recreation. So our number one priority is our senior center. What you'll see here is that our seniors are one of our most precious commodities, but we do have one of the strongest senior programs in this region. These programs are provided to citizens that are interested in maintaining a healthy, engaged, and active lifestyle. There are a variety of programs that we do offer, from acrylic painting to line dancing to yoga to Zumba, but the most, I guess, popular game right now for our seniors is pickleball. We had a public meeting last year about pickleball, and I think she was 98. She stood up and held her pickleball paddle up, And she spoke about the fact that she still plays every single day. And so,
She plays for the Michelob Ultras.
yeah, and so she's very active. And so that's one reason why you're seeing a push for a senior program. In terms of our most popular programs, line dancing, pickleball, yoga for strength, Zumba, and strength training. We have currently about 6,000 plus seniors that participate in our programs monthly. And so that is a significant amount of seniors that actually come from, if you notice these actual fees, they're free for town residents, but it's a small nominal fee for area residents because our programs are regional draws. We have a lot of people who travel from outside of Hope Mills to participate in our programs. And so what you're seeing with this push is a real legitimate approach at a real senior center. We currently have Mr. Hembry here this evening because Mid Carolina actually already partners with us for some of our programs that we do have, like our senior expo that we had a few years ago, instructors for Tai Chi for arthritis. But when you're approaching this senior center designation, there are parameters, rules, and regulations. You have to actually operate for a year before you can get that designation. If you want to tie into your community care block grant funding for Title IIIB funding, you have to actually have these designations. So we're looking to partner with Mid Carolina to enhance a program that we already have to actually elevate our programs for seniors. I will, I guess, pass it to Mr. Henry if he does want to make a few comments.
Thank you, Chancellor. And Representative Senators, it's great to see y'all, and I think it's very commendable that y'all are here this evening to show your interest in this community, Cumberland County, and overall our region as a whole. Just a quick heads up, you're going to be getting an email from me probably next week. Your legislative staff will get this too. A quick plug, Mayor, my apologies. COGS Legislative Day is going to be this year on April the 2nd, and we're doing a reception like we have for the past several years. I just want to first say we really appreciate y'all's support of all 16 councils of governments across the state, and we look forward to seeing y'all in early April to be able to share with you what we're doing and what we hope to do in the future. When it comes to senior centers, one thing that I think sometimes gets lost in this discussion, because you see all these great programs that the town is delivering and that we're able to help with through the Area Agency on Aging and the Home and Community Care Block Grant funds, is that the programs are great. It engages older adults to be more active. It allows social interaction. It can provide basic needs sometimes in terms of congregate meal sites or ways to better deliver Meals on Wheels and those sorts of services. But at the end of the day, depending upon which lens you look through a facility like this or a proposal like this through, the other thing that it does is focuses on the bottom line. Because one of the main purposes of what we try to do through the Area Agency on Aging is to allow older adults to stay in their homes for as long as possible. And what that does is save Medicare and Medicaid dollars. The cost of investing in programs and facilities that will allow folks to stay in their homes longer without going into care facilities, the return on investment, I wish I could name that off the top of my head, but I'll just leave it at this. It's a lot. And there's a lot of research out there that shows that these programs are very effective in that. So I'm not going to ramble on about this, but just to say that we at the regional council and me personally are here to lend our support to the town as they embark on this mission, and also, you know, stand ready, willing, and able to answer any questions or provide any information as this continues and as you work through the session as this comes up. And again, I really appreciate y'all being here, Mayor and Commissioners. I appreciate y'all asking me to participate tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Before I let our Parks and Recreation Director take over, I will be remiss if I didn't announce the arrival of Mrs. Katie Smith.
I'm sorry I'm late.
No, no, that's perfectly fine. From Congressman David Rouser's office. Thank you. So next you'll see, I'm gonna turn over the presentation over to our Parks and Recreation Director. He's one of our silent heroes. He project manages a lot of these projects from the Parks and Recreation Department, and he'll talk to you about the cost for the senior center, but some of the program elements that make this a unique exploration.
Thanks, Chancellor. The first priority is the Hope Mills Senior Center retrofit. So basically what we talked to the seniors in the community, and initially we were thinking that we were going to build a brand new senior center, and with including youth sports and adult sports, things of that nature. But through surveys and things of that nature, we learned that seniors would really like to, use the existing building that we're in now and retrofit it. And then, in doing so, youth athletics, adult athletics would need a community center. And so from that, we developed a cost to retrofit the existing Parks and Recreation building to be the senior center. And in doing so, when we say retrofit, essentially that's going to be a complete interior redo or a gut job, because we're coming back in and we're adding some amenities that we don't have now. We need locker rooms, we need a spa and things of that nature for the seniors. And so with the new program that we're looking at to service the expanded and anticipated growth of seniors, these are the elements that we are currently looking at adding to the existing building. Large exercise room, fitness room, gymnasium conversion to a half court with marked pickleball courts, multi-purpose classroom, meetup cafe and game room, serving commercial kitchen. Here again, locker rooms and restrooms, low impact flooring, that's better for the joints. So in retrofitting the building, we're not only looking at additional space, but we're also looking at energy efficiency and things of that nature that are going to be beneficial and serve the health of seniors. So things like the flooring, changing the flooring of the building, things of that nature. We're taking that as a holistic look on what's good for the seniors, not only the activities, but the amenities for their health and well-being. HVAC upgrades, spa with sauna, new roof, fitness equipment for disabled veterans and special needs population. Based on a cost of $150 per square foot for commercial interior construction, we're looking at $3 million. Architectural and engineering design is approximately $210,000, and we put a allowance in for permitting and utilities at $60,000. So a rough estimate for this project is $3.4 million for the retrofit of the existing Parks and Recreation building to the senior center.
Thank you, Marco. Before we close out this priority, one of the reasons why this is so important is because currently our seniors, they need a place of their own. They have programs in our rec center, but it's not a dedicated space in the town specifically for them. And so that's why this is important. But as we transition to priority number 2, they kind of go hand in hand. In order to be able to complete the next priority, we have to actually successfully facilitate the first one. And so the next priority is the Parks and Recreation Department Community Center. And like I said before, with the proposed renovation of the existing rec center to a full senior center, there will be a need for construction of a new facility. As our Parks and Recreation programs increase, our need for staff to be able to for our staff to increase as well. This facility is proposed at our Golfview Greenway location. This is the old Hope Mills Golf Course location. It's currently under design already. This is kind of back to what I was telling you about contributions that we're making as a staff on our own as a town. We've already utilized funds for the design of the facility. This will be considered a shovel-ready project. We're um, currently facilitating water and sewer being facilitated for the site as well. Some of the elements are it's a 2,700 square foot facility. It will be built as a level 4 facility because that's important. Because if you notice during this cold weather, the white flag shelter designation, I know the county is interested in exploring the expansion of those services throughout the county. So because it's being built as a level 4, it also can serve as a shelter during hurricanes and crisis events as well. Lamarco spoke about it. Inside the senior center, you'll have marked courts indoors for pickleball. Outside, this is an 8-court pickleball design for seniors as well. So seniors will be able to still use this facility. It could also serve as a cooling and warming shelter during the summertime and wintertime. It'll have a full commercial kitchen, locker rooms, computer labs. It will be a regional facility. That's one way you'll continue to hear me. With a lot of these action priorities, there are regional draws and they're multi-purpose as well. This will also have equipment for disabled veterans with special needs as well. And I'll turn it back over to Mr. Morrison to talk about the actual community center site plan and design.
Okay, but before I get in that, I just want to mention that this will be a transition. So while the community center is being built, we'll still operate in the existing recreation center, but once the community center is built, then we would transition into the conversion of the senior center. And in doing so, for about a year or 18 months or so, we will house the seniors in our new community center while the retrofit's being done. So it's going to be a transition of actually 2 projects simultaneously while the community center is being built. But what you're looking at now is the site plan for the community center site on the golf course. There you see the complete pickleball complex. It's actually 8 pickleball courts that double. It's also 4 tennis courts. So we'll be able to get both amenities there. Associated parking, and then the rec center building footprint, and then also some an area for outdoor activities. One of the things that some of the seniors said they would really like to actually do more of the senior games here. So even though we're going to have the senior center at the municipal site, we will still have some senior activities over at the golf course. For example, pickleball. There'll be some outdoor amenities like bocce and things for the senior games that a lot of the seniors say they would really like to have some of the amenities here in Hope Mills. The next graphic is an isometric of the building, shows the senior center, parking, and the pickleball courts. Along with that, based on the code, we will have outdoor restrooms and a picnic shelter also as an amenity for the outdoor courts. As far as the program elements go, we are looking at the cost of $340 for commercial construction of a 27,000 square foot construction commercial. 3 multi-purpose rooms for classes and reservations. A full gymnasium with 2 full-size courts, which will yield you approximately 8 half-size courts. Marked lining for 2 pickleball courts also. So we're actually expanding our offerings as far as pickleball. We have 8 pickleball courts outside and 2 in the new building. In addition, we'll have 2 in the senior center. So a lot of opportunities for pickleball. Administrative offices, a serving commercial kitchen, We are looking at being able to, here again, bring back Meals on Wheels, and there's certain criteria for that. So we'll have that in this building. Locker rooms, restrooms, a computer lab. Um, this will again serve as a shelter during crisis type events, possible white flag, a warming and cooling center, and in addition to that, we'll have a new maintenance and shed storage building. So the subtotal cost for that is $9.1 million. But when you add in the site utilities, civil and site work at $2.7 million, the total cost or the total ask is $13,134,000. Again, there is no cost for the architectural engineering because we've already budgeted for that portion of the project. And so we will have a shovel-ready project, sometime early fall, winter. The actual pickleball courts and outdoor amenities we've also budgeted for. So that's our skin in the game, the design and also the construction of the pickleball slash tennis courts.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. And now we'll transition to the final priority, which is Heritage Park. Many of you that were able to come out to the ribbon cutting for Heritage Park Phase 1, this was a project decades in the making. I've been here going on 11 years. When I got here, Heritage Park was an idea that was about 10 years old at the time. And we now have it here. If you have never been to the site, you used to see those dam gates kind of off in the wilderness, overgrown. And this is a tribute to Mr. Morrison. He came up with a reuse of it where those dam gates have been erected to about 30 to 40 foot tall canopies. The old historic flume has been repurposed as a stormwater feature. But this is a full historic site. And so when you get to the site, you see historical markers all throughout the site that not only provide an educational use in terms of the stormwater, but it provides that rich history about the Hope Mills, the mill that used to be on that site. And so this went through the State Historic Preservation Office, it went through our Historic Preservation Commission. This is something that we're very, very proud of, but this also utilized funds from Congressman David Rouser's office. And so this is all part of the skin in the game we're talking about. We couldn't have completed it without some assistance, but we actually put a significant amount of funding in that as well. Part of that funding was also with a Partis grant. So as we transition to Phase 2 of Heritage Park, the entire park has been designed for Phase 2. We're gearing up for a Partis grant submission for Phase 2 as well. And so we're here to talk about the fact that we're going to take the same approach for Phase 2. Phase 2 will consist of an extension of the existing park, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Morrison to talk about the program elements. But what I wanted to make sure you understood is the success of Phase 1, we're literally trying to just mirror that for this second phase. It's something that we're taking seriously. Mayor Marco and I were talking today. We were contacted by somebody that actually has some type of historical ties to this particular phase. We're running that right through the Historical Preservation Commission. We're going to run it right through the state. And once we're able to identify some of the possible historical features, those will run into the historical marker aspect of Phase 2 as well. So I'll turn it over to Marco to talk about the program elements.
Okay, so Phase 1 focused primarily on passive elements and the history of the park. The floodgates, the history of the flume, the function of the flume, etc. Phase 2 is more of your more active park elements, playgrounds, canoe, kayak launch, things of that nature. And so we feel that Phase 2, even though Phase 1 is great in itself as a passive park, Phase 2 is going to bring a more active element to the park that's going to bring more people there. And so the design site elements for Phase 2 of the project Is going to be a natural playground area, complete with shelter, restroom, and playground area, a floating boat launch, outdoor classroom, um, a natural paving area to expand on the existing trail from phase one, shelter at the event lawn, wayfinding signage and site furnishings, park signage, landscape, and also utilities. So we're looking at a construction subtotal of $1.357 million. Um, the structural civil engineering portion of that is estimated to be $100,622,000. That's going to be our skin in the game. You know, typically we've gone in and we've funded the design and construction documents portion of the project, and we'll use that as part of our match. Testing and permitting based on the previous phase, we estimated $80,159. The subtotal for engineering design and permitting is $255,320. At this stage of the project, we always want to put a robust contingency in the project. So that's $161,262,000. And so the total construction cost is $1.7 million. Um, Minus the part-TIF grant, of $1 million, which would be $500,000 as, that's the maximum amount we can ask from part-TIF is 500,000, and then we'll match that with 500,000. And so the ask as far as state and federal funding possibly is $773,883.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. And again, this is one of my favorite parts. I come out here quietly with my daughter, and this is how I describe it. If you want the more active environment, you want to fish, you want to go see a concert at the gazebo, you want to get something to eat, that's what a lake is. Across the dam is Heritage Park, where you can sit out on the lawn, and this is where the lake transitioned to Rockfish Creek. So now you'll be able to sit out there and hear the water actually running through the creek and things of that nature. So it's a much more tranquil, relaxed environment. And so it's a beautiful park. Again, this is something that this is the most recent project that we've completed. And it's just been, what was it, November?
Yep.
It's been about 3 months since this opened. But I keep stressing we could not have done any of these projects without the help from our local and federal representatives. All of these combined represent something that I always talk about that you can't put a price tag on: quality of life. If we're talking about places for our seniors, we're talking about a new rec center, we're talking about parks, it's one thing to say that this town has a large population of veterans moving here. You have 12 subdivisions under construction right now. I think we did a presentation a few months ago. There's 35 projects between industrial, commercial, and residential under construction right now at the same time. But once that's completed, these are the things that make it a lot more pleasurable for you to live here. And so I don't think you can put a price tag on quality of life when you have a family-oriented environment. A lot of things we're pushing help to actually maintain this family-oriented environment that we have in the town of Hope Mills. And so next, as we close this out, you have the total legislative ask. And again, each one of these priorities in tab 4 is outlined so that whenever you do move forward with these requests, you don't have to. I always talk to Senator Applewhite because last year she called me like 9 o'clock in the morning. A senator is calling me at 9 a.m. and she said, "Chancellor, I need the numbers from this particular slide." So it's a lot more difficult if you have this 30-page slide and you're trying to flip through this tab, the last tab. I'm going to give the kudos to Senator Applewhite because now you can just grab that one particular sheet and run with it if that's the actual direction that the request, or at least the fulfillment of the request, leans toward. And so I'll close this presentation out with some discussions, and I'll turn it over to our mayor and our board.
Well, that's our top three. I want to circle back to the first one, which is our existing rec center. We put a lot of numbers in the slides, but one of the key numbers I want everyone to know is that that rec center was built in 1983, when the community had a population of about 5,500. That's when that building was built. For that population, in 05 and 07, there was an addition to the building because of the growth. So here we are in 2025. Our population is close to 19 now. It is going to increase more than that because in this past year, we have annexed in 350 acres into this town, residential, commercial. And that's just where we are now. That doesn't count all the population that is looking to come to us. Now, we're not the only municipality of the 9. Cumberland County is growing. Our state is growing. We know this. Why are people moving to North Carolina? Why are they choosing Cumberland County to live, work, and raise their families? Why did they choose Hope Mills? Well, I can answer that question. My family and I chose Hope Mills when I retired. We got here in 1996, and it was because of the amenities and the culture of this town. I believed in it then. I still do, sitting here as the mayor of this community. But we can't replace it unless we have some help to try to do it. And for a building that old, that served that population, we looked at this in a holistic view that moving or building a new recreational, multi-purpose community recreational center on the golf course would enhance our adult and youth programs because of all the activities that we cannot offer in that small building. To do that, we also look at our growing population of veterans, which I am, and I know some of you are as well. Heritage Park is a testament to that, because since we cut the ribbon, that has been a sanctuary for a lot of veterans and service dogs and families. We need that therapeutic area, that therapeutic space, just like they do in the golf course. That's why we're looking at developing phase 2 by applying for a part grant, matching that, leaving $773,000 left. But the big goal that we're looking for is to take care of our senior population, and we chose to retrofit the existing building mainly because of the location of where it is. It's right here. It's centrally located in the town. The parking is excellent. We have first responders are right here in case somebody needs something. And there's a dedicated track that's out there for our population that is used frequently every day. The statistics, and they're in the binder. I think there's over 1,500. Am I right, Lamarco, that senior citizens that frequent that building every day?
On average, yep.
And we've just run out of room. We have totally run out of room. In the first part of your slides, I wanted to go back to one key slide, and that's this one, previous funded projects. Every project we have asked funding for, we have put money in ourselves, and we have completed these projects. And I think that's a testament to our dedication and our commitment to use the tax dollars that you provide us generously, that we welcome, that we leave nothing on the table, we leave nothing unspent. We spend everything that you provide and help us with, because you're not only helping us, when our state legislators help one municipality, they help all of them. And I know that there's a lot of needs from the non-municipalities. To include the county, because I was there during the county presentation, just like all of you were. And I welcome that. Because all of us have unique differences and unique needs. But there's one thing that we have in common, and Chancellor said it, and that's quality of life. Whether you're in Hope Mills, or Spring Lake, or the city, or Eastover, Godwin, Falcon, or Linden, we all have the very same needs in Cumberland County's quality of life. And don't forget, we have a robust reservation up here called Fort Bragg now. I'll make sure I get it right, which I retired out of years ago. But our military population look at all the municipalities in Cumberland County. I'd rather have them live here than other counties. I won't mention other counties, but somebody will get offended if I say that. But I would rather have them, if you want to live and raise your families and work right in Cumberland County, to the best county, you can do that. So that's my pitch. Unless the commissioners have anything they want to add, we'll answer any questions that you have. Anybody?
I was gonna say, I don't have a question, I'm gonna make a comment. I moved here in 1992, and I was gonna say, I moved here in 1992, and the Parks and Rec Center was always in the forefront of this town. To the point, I think around that time when they started charging that $3 tax for Parks and Rec, isn't it? Somewhere around there. So it's always been the senior centers, the senior citizens, and Parks and Rec. And I can see why you all have a need, because it started way back then under, I think the Parks and Rec guy was Glenn Dove, that group. It has grown tremendously since. So I like your idea. And I think it's definitely time for this town to continue to move forward and make change.
I appreciate that, Representative Jackson. These are not wants. They aren't. There are needs. They really are. They're the needs of this community. That's how important it is.
And the citizens are certainly in support of all this.
Every day. Every day. I hear, all of us here, how it would be nice to increase the Parks and Rec program. Now, we've got other priorities. We've got infrastructure priorities. We have roadway priorities. Yeah, we're going to work with Representative Rouser, since he's the new chair of the subcommittee of transportation and infrastructure. We've got other needs in the town, but these are the three that we really need to help on the most. Now, if that community center out there was less than 10 years old, and if I sat here and presented this to you, I wouldn't expect any funding. But that's a 1983 building. And that's probably where I'll stop, is the age of the building. And that's why we really need it.
Thank you. I want to echo the sentiments of Representative. When I do come out to Hope Mills and you come around the recreation center, this is like the busiest buzzing place ever. Whether the kids are playing sports, people are just coming in and out of it. This activity is wonderful. And I commend you for retrofitting a building instead of thinking about tearing it down, but seeing how you can retrofit it. Because I'm sure there's significant cost savings by doing that. So thank you for that. You mentioned 2 times that these facilities are regional draws. You mentioned the term regional. So I'm going to assume it's not coming from Fayetteville. What counties, where are the people coming from into Hope Mills that use your facility?
I can answer that.
I'll turn it over to Marco
You got it.
to answer that too. But the regional is something that I want people to make sure that we focus on, because they're coming from everywhere. But Mayor and I were at the delegate presentation at the county. Our last board meeting, the chair and and several county commissioners were at our meeting. What you're starting to see here is in this region, a lot of the leaders are actually working together. That is very real, and it's something that's recent, but you'll see us all actually showing up quietly. The mayor and I sat in the back, we were there to support. And we felt that it was important that Kirk and the county commission saw us there in support. So when we're having conversations about these regional jobs, we're having these conversations together as well. But I'll pass it to Lamarca to talk about the demographics of who, where we're drawing these residents from.
Okay, so, I don't know how many were, at the last, public input meeting we had, to discuss the senior center, but, a lot of our numbers are scientific, even where we got the average number of participants. You know, we have online registration, so those numbers came directly from online registration, what they participated in, what they paid for, what the programs are. Likewise, we did a survey when we did the programming and the conceptual phase of the senior center, and we found out that we got a lot of residents, Cumberland County wide, that come specific to Hope Mills, specifically on the southern edge of Fayetteville. We got spillover. We have Robinson County, Parkton. We have Lumberton. We have Red Springs. Now, the only municipality that we don't get spillover from, or very little, is Spring Lake. But everywhere and in between, we have people that specifically come to Hope Mills to participate in our programs, countywide. So.
I'll add to that one, Marco. We have a big draw here in Hope Mills also. Now that we're past COVID, we are starting to see the return of people to our very nice theater called Millstone. Now, I'm here to tell you, I was there when they cut the ribbon. I was there before they even built it, when it was a farm years ago. I was sad to see them tear it down. It really hurt me. But that Millstone Theater attracts countless people that come from Hope County, all around Cumberland, Robertson County, come here to that theater. And then after they're watched their movie or before their movie, they stop at our parks. They stop in our rec center. And that increases our economic development here in Hope Mills. But they stay with us. And especially as we go into spring and we go into summer, and then we've got some new retail that's here as well, we're drawing people from everywhere to come here. Because some folks are tired of streaming, they're back to the theater now, and you can start to see the population come back to Center at point. I'm just going to answer that our amenities are an attraction unto itself. We truly are. We truly, and there's a lot of people from the city of Fayetteville come here. They just don't go to AMC. They don't go to AMC. I mean, I go to Planet Fitness, so I see their population sometimes. But
And you got ice cream right next to it.
and and we got Culver's down the street and Freddy's, and soon other locations as well. With the anticipated growth of 295 bypass, that will be completed in 2 years. That's going to bring a tremendous amount of growth unto itself, charging to a 1983 building. That's why we need a new center. It's to meet the growth of today, but it's to meet the growth 20 years from today.
Exactly.
Because there'll be somebody else sitting here at this table along with 5 commissioners saying, look, we need to replace this building. That's why it's a need.
When you built it in 83, the ADA wasn't required. And it came out until 1990.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say I commend you all of your hard work and I can buy into the vision. I can see it. I can see it here, as a destination for families, destination for the economic and community element. I did want to ask, just out of curiosity, now, not just questioning it, but you mentioned the trend of population growth. I mean, you're 19,000 now, you have 35 projects going, right? Collectively 12 subdivisions. And now, do you have just any idea of the projected population growth for maybe the next decade? Because what I can see here, is something that not will only give benefit to the residents of Holmville, countywide, but also to the state of North Carolina. Because I see potential destination place, like perhaps a New Bern or, some of the other places that are not completely urbanized. And I think that's a jewel. I think that's a jewel, because you have county seat, urban area and things, so I commend you all. But just out of curiosity, I'm wondering, what would that possibly look like? I know it's projected growth, because people are moving to North Carolina. You know, we have like the ninth most populous state in the country. People are gonna move to Columbus because our urbans are getting overcrowded. And you all are ahead of the curve with the ask to meet the accommodations of population growth. So just out of curiosity, I'm wondering, and if anyone doesn't have it, I'll look it up.
Oh, I have it. And Representative, you have it too. If you look at my letter in your packet on the first page, see, this is all about, I'm gonna get Senator Applebaum's credit here, she's got numbers. You look down to the bottom, there's two paragraphs I put in there about the population growth that I researched myself. Because I knew, I said, you know, it's the numbers, and it's right there. We're growing, the projected growth is 0.31% annually, and the population has increased by 1.27% since the most recent census, which was reported in 2020. I also found a nice one. Residents 65 years and older represent 12% of our population, and about 2,200, which is 17.8% of the Hogan Hills population, have veteran status. These are the numbers you're looking for.
Thank you. Thank you.
To include the growth of, I even put the growth of Cumberland County numbers in there. These are the projections.
And we'll add to development. Thank you all.
Okay.
And Mayor, if I could piggyback, what I will say, when he talked about 300 acres, that's not 300 acres of land. That's 300 acres of development that is currently under construction. So because of our, the way our annexations work, it is the expansion of our corporate limits. So every annexation you hear about is a project being annexed in for development. And so it's not one type of development. It's industrial, which is job creation that actually brings the highest return on tax value. It's retail and it's residential. And so I wanted to make sure I highlighted that when he brought that out. That's 300 acres of development. And when you see 295 be completed, it's going to skyrocket even more. So we're projected to grow significantly, but I want people to understand too, there are 5 DOT projects, including 295, that are major road widening projects, because what people will hear is that there's a concern of the infrastructure. Well, the developments are being done. They have to create new streets and build new streets for the development. DOT is doing their roadways, but that's where our federal acts, because the infrastructure we're asking for them is to help maintain and increase the towns the streets that we own. So it's a lot of different layers that are simultaneously taking place at the same time that ensures that we're going to grow with this increase in our development.
None of you have asked, and I was expecting this to come. In past years, we've always included transportation And
Francie,
I
knew. Wait.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you yet, my phone asked. I asked Diane, she saw me.
I'm gonna tell you why it's not one of our three. And it goes back to something that Chandler said. It's not one of our three because we look at this in a regional perspective. This is an opportunity for the municipalities to work with the new Cumberland County Board of Commissioners and the direction that Chairman Kirk Deviere wants to pursue. So we're not going to put it in as a priority. We look at it as an opportunity to collaborate with the municipalities, of course, the city of Fayetteville has the FAST system. And let's look at this thing, let's do it regionally. Let's not do it on a standalone. Let's do it together. That's why it's not in our packet. And I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It's just like the infrastructure of roads. We have a lot of needs for roadways. We're not going to ask that from our state legislative delegation, but we will send a request up to Congressman Roger's office for some assistance there. So we're looking. So that's the change that we've made, and this all goes back to countless hours of roundtable discussions, back and forth, back and forth. In fact, Friday we finally finished this packet. On Friday evening, we finally put the glue to the packet to present. Because like I said in my opening comments, these are not wants. These are needs. So there's the transportation question, the infrastructure question. Representative Smith, did you have something, sir?
I did. First, thank y'all for the presentation. I appreciate the detail, and I can definitely tell that y'all are prioritizing needs that are tailored to your community and to your population. When you mentioned, I just have a couple of questions. Certainly, I get it. I mean, you have a recreation center built in 1983. Hope Mills is a different town than it was 40 years ago, without a doubt. I'm just curious, did we look at the cost of a new facility versus retrofitting the senior center or potentially adding on? And I understand the seniors' preference. You mentioned a survey and they wanted to have their own space. I get that. But accomplishing that goal, giving seniors their own space within the broader community center that we see in phase 2, because at its core, to me, both of these projects, they achieve a core purpose of recreation, quality of life. And so you're going from a 20,000 square foot building to, with the addition of a 27,000 square foot building, that 47,000 square feet will be dedicated to recreation. And that's okay, but I'm just wondering if that's the most efficient way to get this done when you're really you're undertaking two projects that really overlap a lot. Even if you look at what will be in each one, there's a lot of overlap. So, respecting the desire for seniors to have their own space, and there's certain things in here, like low impact flooring. I know that's very senior specific. But there's other things where I just see a lot of overlap, and I'm wondering if and Mr. Mayor, you did speak to that a little bit when you were talking about the location and the first responder. So you kind of answered that, but I'm just, I wonder, was that ever looked at? Just the cost of accomplishing both of these goals in one project?
Y'all can chime in if you want to, but initially, when we first started the conceptual phase of the project, that was the initial goal. It was going to be a combination of both. It was going to be community center / senior center. So we first started having our, I think we had 2 public input meetings. The result of the public input meetings was, even though we wanted to have a combined center, the seniors on a large scale was very vocal about having their own space. And, certainly some said, we don't mind being with the youth. They really want a place of their own. And so that's where the idea came, why don't you all let us have the old building and you all build something new. So it basically came out of surveys and a result from the conceptual plan, the input we got from the seniors. But initially that was the idea, to have a larger building and the combined amenities in one center.
Did you ever get any type of estimate for that? I guess is sort of my question, to compare costs.
We did. I think it was $18 million. I mean, it was an $18 million project total, and they had things like and you all can chime in some too. You know, it had some of the same amenities. They had an aquatic center, and you know, some of the things where it was even more overlap. An elevated track and some things of that nature. So basically, you know, we went back with the architects, we went back to the drawing board, and we said, okay, now that we're looking at having a separate facility, you know, what are some of the things specific for a community center that we need based on the growth? And then what are some of the things that we can retrofit in the existing building? So, so that's where the idea came from. We started out as a combined building, but then came back to, you know, instead of building, you know, their own facility, which I think the price in Fayetteville, the ones that were built in Fayetteville was around the $5 million, $6 million mark. You know, we thought it's a good way to kind of repurpose and use what we have now, and then offer up something, you know, state of the art for youth and adult athletics. Also, you know, doubling up as another shelter in disaster. So it was an opportunity to actually build upon not just a community center, but some other things too.
Well, there's some overlap in it, and that's for future growth, but we did look at combining it all in one. And then, of course, that would have left us with the existing building, what we were gonna do with that, and it would just wouldn't be right, you know, just to raise the building. But when we look at both these buildings, the new one that we wanna build, we wanna make sure it's a level 4 facility, because as we know, what happened to the counties in western North Carolina, that facility can be life, can really bring a lot of life to, because Hurricane Helene could happen to any one of us. Now, we've got a storm coming in this Wednesday, we don't know what kind of condition it's gonna be. We wanna make sure that's a level 4, but here's something else, we wanna make sure both these facilities are white flag. There are none in hotels, none, not one. And I'm sure that over the winter, there are people that desperately could use a white flag facility. No doubt in my mind. That was the other motivator that we used in looking at the two buildings. So I come back again and say, look, these buildings will help all of our population. Representative Smith, I hope I answered your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Another question, if that's okay. So, you know, just speaking in theory, you know, if we're negotiating around the budget and we're told, you know, okay, you can get $7.5 million, $10 million for hotels. Are these, you know, these building construction, are there phases to this? Would you want that 10 million, you know, first 3.4 to go to the senior center, then the rest, the other, you know, 6.6, you know, how would that, if possible, I know that some of this is still in sort of the planning design phase, but, you know, we want to know sort of how, if we get a round number and it's not necessarily, project specific, how you would want us to maybe separate any allocation we're able to. Does that make sense? Or if there's gonna be things like if we can prioritize calls for phases to this construction, just so we know that going in, you know, so that would, and you may not even have that information right now.
We've thought about it. One of y'all wanna?
Yeah, we have, we've discussed it. We know that to retrofit the existing building, the 1983 building, we have to build the new one on the golf course. And both of these are gonna be multi-purpose. It's not gonna be just a standard Parks and Rec. Oh, it's gonna be an enhanced multi-purpose community center. So we know that that's the first one. We'd have to completely build the one on the golf course before we retrofitted the building that we have now. So that's where that funding would go, would be to build the first one. And that one is at, I think, 13.4.
And then, last question, what about the possibility for, you know, and I can appreciate the regional nature of these facilities, and yeah, I applaud you for that, and we're, you know, brings people into the town, and they're not just, they're going to eat after it. There's a big economic impact. What about the potential, I mean, for tournaments? I mean, is that something the town could consider doing, hosting, tournaments at the community center, bringing folks in, charging a fee for I don't know, I'm just sort of thinking, out loud, and you see like there seems to be a lot of pickleball courts, but I love pickleball, but like, how can we use that? And also, you talk about return on investment, would we have that capacity?
We could have that capacity, and that's why we're putting it out there on the former golf course, because it has the capacity and the parking to host tournaments. Just like everyone saw the Super Bowl, well, you saw the commercial in there about pickleball. Well, if you saw it, of course, you saw a lot of folks playing for the ultras. Well, a lot of senior citizens want to play pickleball, and that is a growing sport. Now, I don't think it's going to die out anytime soon. Looks like it's quite popular. So we could host tournaments here, regional tournaments. We could definitely do that if we had that opportunity. And that's where that growth is. That's why you see the footprint in the vibrant of the site.
Mayor, just to piggyback on what you were saying, is one of the things that will get my attention from an economic development standpoint is those tournaments that actually feeds the economy of Hope Mills, that feeds the local businesses in Hope Mills, that actually helps provide us with a return on investment. And that's what some of these ideas are coming from. You're designing it in a way that facilitates an avenue to be able to generate more revenue back to the town. But it's actually something that feeds this entire town, because if you have a tournament, imagine how many people come in town. They're going to stay here, they're going to spend money here, they're going to shop here, they're going to eat here. And so it's something that drives itself as well.
We have a Cross Creek tournament that comes here, that's a statewide, that comes out to that golf course and will fill up the entire golf course. And it usually comes here about twice a year. But one of the things I want to highlight is the existing building. We have a full basketball court that's in there. We're going to restripe half of that in indoor pickleball for seniors, because it's going to be in the senior citizen center. The other half of that, we're going to repurpose that into different amenities to support seniors, because we're going to build a new basketball court out on the golf course. So when we talk about retrofitting that building, we're really going to do it from the view of the senior citizen viewpoint, and what programs that they're looking to use. I was at the new senior citizen center when the ribbon cut in Fayetteville. I was also at Bill Chris Center as well, who I miss, who was a really, really good councilman for the city of Fayetteville. And I know you know. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. You had a Meals on Wheels program. Is it not there anymore? Or did you ever have?
We did.
I heard you
We
talk about
did,
it.
at one time we did.
It's not existent now?
There's restrictions. There's restrictions in. When we gave up the senior center, which was in a totally different building, and because of the way we operate our kitchen in our new center, we're not able to offer Meals on Wheels now. But with a new community center, it's going to be built in such a way that we will be able to offer that again, that service again, because we'll have what we call a service kitchen, where will allow us to do Meals on Wheels. But with the facility we have now, we're not able to offer that because of the other uses that we offer, reservations and things of that nature. We're not able to offer it as a Meals on Wheels program.
And I know it's a conversation for a different day, but that's one of my favorite projects that we do in Fayetteville. And we were able to get some funding to help this delegation in last session for a truck, extra one to service the county. So important for our shut-ins and our elderly. And I know that was part of the goals several years ago here, working with the group that you had over in the other building. And I know that you don't have a hospital here, and I know you must be extremely concerned about mental health. And I know all those things cost lots of money, But the healthcare, part of Hope Mills, I would love to talk, with you at another time, on plans in the future, to provide more healthcare. And I would love to know how many urgent cares you have here and treatment facilities. And we can go to that at another time or one-on-one. Thank you.
Justin, did you want to add in something about Meals on Wheels? But I wanted to come back and also, and circle back to him as we close out this discussion, that when we're looking at the retrofit of the building, we're looking at a pure partnership with Mary Carolina as well. So this just isn't us doing it on our own. Oh no, we've got an agency that's going to come in and help us design and build that as well.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, just specifically about the Meals on Wheels, and there was this predates me, I think, that there was some changes to requirements in terms, essentially what's required now is a full-blown commercial kitchen to be able to prepare those meals and distribute it. I think there's some real opportunities there. And one thing, just as a side note, if you look through, as many of y'all are aware, we administer the Home and Community Care Block Grant funds that flow through the Division on Aging, Older Americans Act funding. If you look at the way that those funds are allocated, which is based on each one of our counties, including Cumberland County, has an advisory committee that makes recommendations that decides on behalf of the county commissioners how those funds are spent. A lot of those funds do go to Meals on Wheels. That's one of the top things. And if you look at the waiting list for those, it is amazing how many folks are on the waiting list, which lends itself to say that there is a dire need for more facilities in not only Cumberland County, but really all three of our counties for more opportunities for home delivered meals, along with congregate meal sites, which this facility would lend itself to too in terms of having a meal site. But
Thank you very much for adding that in. Did that answer your question?
I had one question. You mentioned in the presentation that you all would charge $5 to non-citizens. Do you do that now, or will you do that with these projects? Or do you have a proposed budget as to what you may earn from charging $5 to non-residents?
So there you go.
We do actually, it's not just $5. Some of those services are $2, some of them are $5, and we offer no fees for Hope Mills residents. And so that's something that's interesting to ask, because we introduced a $2 fee for pickleball. Oh my goodness!
They wanted to play it.
I'm not joking at all. That's what tells you it's regional. I mean, a whole organization descended upon the town. We were just talking about $2. And so when there are fees that we are very cognizant of, we're not trying to overcharge. But we negotiated, everybody, you know, we came up with a plan, day, fee, but, you'll see the breakdown. Some of them are $5 per program, some of them are $2 per programs, but those are for non-residents. We want all of our residents in the town, and I'm pretty sure that fee schedule will continue at the new facility, where if you're a Hope Mills resident, there is no fee for anything the facilities.
Katie?
Yeah, so are all these priorities shovel ready? I heard you say that term, but say if we were to do community project funding this year, which we have not received guidance from the appropriations committee yet, are all three of these shovel ready? Is priority number one more shovel ready than priority number two?
Now, typically when you talk about shovel ready, the two main things you hear is water and sewer.
Right.
So if you're talking about priority number one, for the rec center here, conversion, that's just internal conversion. The key with the golf course piece, not only have we allocated money for the design of the community center and the design and construction of the outdoor pickleball courts, there is an adjacent development that we partner with that is going to extend the water and sewer right to the front door. And so that's what I mean when we say so many irons we have in this fire, things we're doing ourselves So if we're asking for funding from the local and federal level, we want you guys not only to see with that first slide, this is what we did with the funding that we already received, but this is what we're doing now to facilitate this ask that we have now. And so that specific project I know is shovel ready. If we're having that conversation, and we do know that's a much easier ask for you because it's not you just giving us money that's gonna sit. Water and sewer is probably the biggest hurdle for any development, municipal or private. And this particular site, will be shovel ready at the time that we're ready to
That's
start.
number two.
Can I, yeah,
Yeah, that's the second.
can I
part.
get more specific with the timeline?
Yeah.
So, if given the direction, priorities 2 and 3 will be shovel ready by the winter. We finished up the schematic phase for the community center. And so, in another 30, 45 days or so, we will move into construction documents. And so, it takes about 6 to 8 months for construction documents to be complete. So I think we'll be at a point, if not full construction documents, by the winter, definitely design development. As far as the retrofit, we're totally gonna go design build for that one. So, with design build, you can typically turn that process around a lot quicker because you not only have a designer, but you have a contractor working hand in hand on that project. So, I anticipate if project number 1 was funded, definitely be ready, shovel ready, and ready for construction by spring 2026, like January, February.
But Katie, that brings us back to priority 2. That's why we've allocated and approved funding for the design of priority 2 that you see already, the footprint. So it will be ready for construction in the fall, probably early fall, early fall or late fall this year. It'll be ready to go.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just a clarifying question. You mentioned, so make sure I understand this right. Priority 2 is that happens before priority 1.
Has to,
Okay,
yes.
so I switched priority 2 to 1 because that's got to occur. I get that
Gotta have
the
it first.
wish list 1 might be desired more, but for practical purposes, number 2 comes first.
Yep.
I just want to make sure I understood that correctly. Yeah, sorry.
And then like number 3 is kind of dear to my heart. So, will that be, what's the timeline on that?
So that's mainly site work. We can definitely have that one done by the fall. We've already got the designer putting together the master plan for phase 2 already anyway. So that's a quick turnaround on that one.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Smith, priority 1's the driver.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's kind of how we ranked it. It was like, this is the project that's most important, but we cannot start that one until we get this other one in place. But, so we ranked it on the importance.
No, and I completely understand. I just did it for my own, when I'm going back through, okay, but the funding needs to go here first. So that's more for me, like a mental note. But no, I completely understand.
Yeah, it was more, not so much a funding as it was the importance
Sure.
Of that center and the benefit to the community. Okay, any other comments? I'm gonna hand it, if there's no more comments from the delegation, I'm gonna hand the mic off to the board members, and then we got one action left, and then we'll call from the adjournment.
Thank you. I appreciate all you guys coming out tonight. We couldn't complete this without you guys. So I certainly hope that you will give us your backing. We're talking about how this program runs. Like the baseball program, for instance. Commissioner Marley and I coached in that league for a long time. We've been to, or I have anyway. I coached there 28 years, and I just retired the year before last. And I was very happy with the results that Marco's group worked so hard to establish for us. And I say us because I was like one of the kids. I followed the rules and had to do what they asked us to do. And, I think that's one reason that our program is so strong. And I don't care where you go. I was in Florida 2 years ago and was talking to some guy in the front of Walmart. And I told him, he asked me where I was from, and I told him North Carolina. He said, where at? He said, I got a sister who lives up there. I said, Hope Mills. He said, oh my God, you guys are baseball nuts. I said, well, we're not baseball nuts, but we enjoy it. We presently have, last year's championship girls softball team, in our ranks. And, we couldn't do that either without Marco and his group and all the volunteers that we have, as coaches. These coaches don't get paid no more than the players do. And, it's hard to read about stuff sometimes when petty stuff, you know. We won't get into that, but, it's a long, hard drive to have a successful program. And our Parks and Rec department has that. And I want to personally thank Marco and his staff for all they do for us. When I say us, I don't mean just kids. I mean us adult kids.
Thank you.
That's what we are, as adult kids. So, again, thank you guys for coming out. Anything you can do to help us, please do so. And we will forever, ever be thankful to you. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank y'all for coming out. I don't have anything to add to this. Maybe I'll talk to you later, but each one separately. But thank you for coming, and anything you'll do for us is greatly appreciated.
To piggyback of what both of the commissioners to my left were saying, thank you guys so much for coming out. It really warms my heart when I see everyone taking notes. I was like, oh, good, write that down. It was important. It really means a lot to us. I'd also like to thank the town staff and our town manager for putting together this really, really terrific binder, and it makes it easier on you guys, and it hopefully makes it easier for us to get money from you guys. But thank you, town manager, and the rest of the staff as well. You guys, top notch. Your due diligence and hard work will not be forgotten. And thank you as well.
Like everybody else said, I want to thank each and every one of you for your past and your continued support, I'm sure. And thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here tonight. Thank you.
Well, for the last time, thank you for coming out tonight. But not only when we're asking for money, I think you all are very active. We see you all the time at different events and things that we're doing. And even when the things that we've asked you for, when we invite you to the ribbon cut and see the fruition of that, you come out to that as well. And I too would like to thank our staff and my town manager who worked really hard all weekend and Friday, and they had a presentation together, and then the mayor went to a training, and then he shipped the entire priority list based off of some education that he received. So they really, and they just asked me what did I think. So I really, really do appreciate them for working on this with us, and I think that's all that I have. So thank you again.
And I'll close out. There's a moniker that we use all the time now. It's called Team Hope Mills. And I'll say it again, there's nothing that you see from Hope Mills that is not a collective effort. Like Mayor Pro Tem McCray said, it was about 3 o'clock. Mayor comes in, and I have the Parks and Rec director on speakerphone. He's on vacation, but he's locked in. And I got the slide presentations on my computer, and I'm making changes in real time and things of that nature. But we also consider you guys part of that team as well. And I go back to that first slide, we couldn't have the success we had last year without your assistance. And the only thing we're doing now is asking for that same level of assistance, but we're coming to the table with contributions we're making on our end. And so when we say Team Hope Mills, we consider you to be a part of that team as well. And thank you for coming out this evening.
Last action we have on the agenda is item number 6, approval of resolutions. I'll read both. Resolution of the Town of Hope Mills Board of Commissioners adopting legislative priorities for the 2025-2026 long session of the North Carolina General Assembly. This is resolution number R 2025-005, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Hope Mills, North Carolina, operates from a community-first approach. And whereas the needs of the community are ever-changing and growing with the increased population, and whereas according to the North Carolina League of Municipalities, Hope Mills is the 61st largest municipality in the state, and whereas the Board of Commissioners have vetted the budgetary requests from all internal departments that serve our community and have identified certain priorities that require state assistance, and now therefore be it resolved by the Hope Mills Board of Commissioners that the legislative priorities are as follows. Hope Mills Senior Center, $3,430,500. Hope Mills Community Center, $13,134,000. Heritage Park Phase 2, $773,883, adopted the 17th day of February 2025. The next one, resolution of the Town of Hope Mills Board of Commissioners adopting an infrastructure funding request from the United States federal government, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Hope Mills, North Carolina, operates from a community-first approach, and whereas proper infrastructure is the cornerstone of any well-run municipality, and whereas according to the North Carolina Department of Commerce, Hope Mills falls within Tier 1 designation, being in Cumberland County, and whereas the Board of Commissioners have vetted the budgetary request from all internal departments that serve our community and have identified certain priorities that require federal assistance, and now therefore be it resolved that the Hope Mills Board of Commissioners that the infrastructure priorities are as follows. Residential aerial roadway repairs, $26,375,000. Heritage Park Phase 2, $773.88. $773,883. Adopted this 17th day of February 2025. And I know Heritage Park, Katie, is dear to your heart because that's how we got Phase 1 completed. Before I call for adjournment, I want to thank everybody that came tonight, the residents, those that are watching live stream. We're glad that you took the time out tonight.
You have to vote on the resolution.
I have to vote on both of them. Do I hear a motion on resolution 2025-005?
May I make a motion to approve the resolution number R 2025-005?
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Do I have a motion on resolution 2025-006?
May I make a motion to approve resolution number R 2025-006?
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. And lastly, for the last time, thank each of you for taking the time out to come and spend a little time in our community tonight to know a little bit about us and what we do and how much we love our community here at Hope Mills. Have a pleasant evening. Have an adjournment.
One house cleaning item, don't leave just yet. As these resolutions are signed, we're gonna make copies, hole punch them, and put them in your binder so you can walk away with them, put them in a secure document. Thank you.
Okay. Have a motion for adjournment?
Adjournment, please.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned.